Good evening, you guys. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Friday. It is Friday. Happy Friday, you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me know who's here. I see we have a few people that have joined us. Say hi in the comments. I can talk back to you. But I want to say thank you so much for joining us. If you can, please go ahead and share this video out. This is going to be a great one, a good one. They're all good, but this is going to be one that's really, really, really necessary, I believe, especially going with what my purpose and my vision is for Make It Rise. For those of you who do not know who I am Tamara Johnson. I am the creator and owner of Make It Rise, rebuild intentionally and strategically for effectiveness. I'm a marriage advocate, a healthy marriage advocate. I am an author, and I am here to do what God has called me to do, which is my purpose. So our vision here at Make It Rise is to create a movement where we're changing the view of how society has defined marriage, okay? And I understand that everyone's view is different. Everyone's definition could be different as a result of what they were raised to believe, what they saw in their homes, or their own personal experience. And so what God has done is given me vehicles. I'm trying to read comments and talk. He's given me multiple vehicles to share what his original design for marriage is. And this particular topic that we're going to speak about today is going to do just that, right? I kind of think that this is one of those topics that I should be doing like maybe quarterly, not necessarily the same couple, but just making sure that the viewers, the new viewers, the old viewers, are reminded of what God created and designed marriage to be. So again, I say thank you so much for joining. Hello, Miss Pam. Hey, Linda. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Again, thank you so much to all of the other viewers. For those who will be coming back for the replay, thank you again. Do hashtag replay if you have any questions. Ask them in the comments, and I will make sure that if it's for me, I answer them. If it's for the couple that's going to be on tonight, I will be sure that they come back and they answer them for you as well. So one thing that I want to say before we get going and get rolling, you notice that I am by myself tonight. I am solo. So, hey, here it is. Moving forward, I will probably be doing this by myself. Eric will be focusing on his culinary arts, things that he's doing in that area. And I ask that you support him as he continue to work in that area of his life and his purpose, right? When you see him posting his things and he selling his seasonings and spices and dinners, I ask that you support him. So he is not sitting with me tonight because that is something that he is focusing on more in his area. And so I appreciate the time that we did get to do this together. Again, thank you all so much. So tonight we have a show that is near and dear to my heart because it speaks volumes. It goes in alignment with what my purpose is. Our question tonight is, what is marriage really? Right? What is marriage really? And I'll say this, depending on where you're at, your mindset, you will probably see the question written on paper or on the computer, laptop, your phone. And depending on where you're at, your tone would probably be a little different. So I'm going to say, if you're a person that's angry, you had a bad experience in marriage, maybe, right? You may look at that question and say, yeah, what is marriage really, right? Or if you are one who is like, everybody know what marriage is, duh, right? You say, duh, what is marriage? Like, don't you know that? Or if you are one who just doesn't know, you want to be educated, you are waiting and you're ready to be married, or you think you want to be married, but you want to hear more about it, you're sitting there like, okay, yeah, what is marriage really, right? But what I want to do is ask you to suspend any tone, any emotion that is not attached to what my purpose is, what the goal is, what the vision is. And as I stated, the vision is to create a movement where we're changing the view of how society has defined marriage. And we want to show and share with you what the original design for marriage is. So if you have a thought or tone or body language that is anything opposite of that, I ask you to please suspend those thoughts for tonight. And hopefully something will be said or done that have you kind of, second guess this thing and ask more questions and want to do it different. And you have a change of, your mindset is changed and there's a different trajectory about it. So that is my question. That is my request, my ask of you. So as I said, we have an amazing couple that I'm going to bring on, Mr. and Mrs. Darryl Brown. The wife is my girl. This is my friend. This is one of my mentors. She has walked with me through my entire process of, my divorce. And so it's near and dear. She's near and dear to my heart. I trust the things that she is saying, it will be saying, and that Darryl will be saying, because I know where it's coming from. It's coming straight from the word. And so I am going to bring them on. I am going to let them introduce themselves, and then we will go ahead and get started with this amazing topic. You guys make sure that you are sharing and you are tagging your friends so that they could be a part of this. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Brown.
Hey, hello.
Hi, Tam. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We all doing good over here. Yeah.
Listen, I want to say to you, thank you so much for saying yes, for being available for this time tonight. I don't take it for granted. Your time, I do not take it for granted. Your knowledge, I don't take it for granted. Your walk, your talk, I don't take any of it for granted. As I stated, and you probably heard when you were in the green room, as I stated, Angel has walked with me through many of my processes, but the divorce process and the marriage and all that. And so I know that what you give is meat. I know that it's, I know exactly where it comes from. And so I trust and know everything that you are going to say is per God, and including your experience. So I want to be very clear on this. Many people think that when we speak about what the word says, that we are not allowed to give what our experience is. And that's not so. You can give your experience, but make sure you include the word of God. Show how that changed what you were probably thinking before and what you think now and what you've learned, what you didn't know, all of those things. And so, again, I say thank you both for being here with me tonight. So tell the viewers who you are. I said your name, but let them know how long you've been married. Just give us a little brief bio on Angel and Darryl.
Yeah, my name is Darryl Brown, and this is my wife, Angel Brown. And we've been married for 31 years. I mean, great marriage. We're having fun. We love life. We stay together. We do everything together. We make sure we take care of each other.
Yeah, like he said, I'm Angel, and it's a walk. It's a walk. It's not cookie cutter. Marriage is really different with God and without God. And that's what we need to focus on. When you want to do this thing, it's a relationship. You want to do it. The relationship is first with God and then with your spouse.
Nice. Well, yes, that's exactly what we want to unpack tonight. Marriage, walking with God, because it's definitely a difference. And marriage, just walking, right? Whoever you're walking with, mama them, daddy them. But marriage, walking with God, comes with a different requirement, right? And so I just want to jump right on in there and ask you both this question. First of all, tell the viewers, if you could give one word where you're sharing with the viewers, how did you get to 31 years? I don't even have kids that's 31 years old. What is something that you could share with the viewers? How did you get to 31 years?
Oh, well, God. I mean, we prayed a lot. We stayed together. When we met, I mean, it was funny the way we met. We pretty much met through my brother-in-law, and we ended up going to Magic Mountain together. But it wasn't connection because it was some difficult times. I mean, we argued all the way up up there to Magic Mountain. You know, that was 45 minutes from us,
Oh Lord.
from where we started. So we got up there. We hung out. I won a couple of stuffed animals for her. She kind of like loosened up after that. She kind of got nice. But it was, yeah, we was pretty much. I mean, back in the day, it's called bagging. We bagged on each other a lot, all the way up there. We was just arguing and talking about each other. She was in the convertible Rabbit, and I said I ain't never rode in a Rabbit before, so I rode with her. And you know, my brother-in-law was like, "Just go with us," and I was like, "Yeah, I rode in that Rabbit," and she was like, "You ain't gotta ride with me. I mean, I can ride by myself." I said, "You know, you want me to go with you," so I jumped in the car.
So, this was y'all first time meeting?
Yeah, well, it's our second time.
Second time, yeah,
okay.
second time. Yeah, second time. That's when we actually went out, you know, on the actual. Yeah, actually, it wasn't really a date, but it was
not a date. And
it was not a date.
If I had to give one word for 31 years, I would say God also. And the reason why I would say God, yeah, the way we met was funny. Our whole relationship has been not anything like we would have imagined or anything that's conventional. We've been through a lot. We've had a lot. We've made mistakes. We've done things and recovered from them. We've had look, some hills to climb, right? And it takes God, because look, when you climbing a hill, it gets to a point where you think it might be easier to climb this hill alone, right? So you have to think God in the beginning of the problem, right? Not looking at the problem. So whatever it could be financial, it could be social, it could be anything. When you first address problems, you can't be like, what is this? Whose fault is this? How did this happen to us? What did you do? What did I do? What should I have done? You know, definitely. We were talking earlier today about single parents raising children, and how the children come out and look at the spouse as one being able to, you know what, my mom did it all, so you should be able to do it all. As a woman, you should be able to do it all, you know. And it's difficult sometimes with the molds that are around us.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at trouble, when you're looking at a problem, you got to be surrounded by people who know the word, godly people who are married as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes that old head will tell you, okay, this is a mistake you made, but let's look at the big picture.
Yeah.
You know, so it's been some times, I mean, I don't want to name drop, but it's been some times that I went to somebody and say, look, he let the ATM card get sucked up in the machine. I want a divorce. They was like, you what? I'm sick of this. He's all tight with money, and he got all these ideas about money and money. And then he was careless enough to let the ATM card get sucked in.
And you wanted a divorce behind that?
I was sick of it. I was like, you know what? Every time I turn around, it's something. It's always something. And you know what? This is just you're not really paying attention. You're not as into this as I am.
You know what? That kind of leads me to my next question, which is, what was your first example of marriage? What was your first example of marriage, and was it what you believe it to be today? And I said it led me to that question because many times we think what we see, what we grew up believing, what we heard, what we think, or what we thought, that is what it will be. That is what it should be, right? But if you've been in this thing for 31 years, I need to know does any of that have something to do with you seeing it done the way you know it to be today?
No, it changes. I mean, through time, you might grow, and you know the person that you with, they might not grow as much, and you gotta talk to them and see where they at, where they mind at. My wife, she grew, and I had to catch up. Then I grew a little bit. She had to catch up. So don't just throw them away. You got married, so it's a solid thing. You're supposed to stay together. You're gonna go through difficult times. You're always gonna go through difficult times. It ain't gonna be easy.
Yeah.
So you just gotta look at it like that.
Yeah, the commitment is important. As far as models around us, so the other people that we know or knew that were married, so not let's look at it like this. Let's look at social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
So social media, when you see a married couple on social media, you see good times, happy times, everything's wonderful, fa la la, vacations and all of that. You don't see struggles, hard times. You don't see that. And so that's the same thing with other couples who are around us. It seemed like everyone else was having a blissful time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Either they were having a blissful time or they were breaking up. So now we got to figure out. Well, our marriage doesn't look like, let's say, Sam and Diane. Our marriage doesn't look like theirs. Diane is always happy. Sam is always this. But, we could be at work and our coworkers could be complaining about their spouse and talking their spouse down, right? Married, but just despise everything. My wife does this. My husband does this. La, 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 la. Which makes you kind of feel like, well, he doesn't do that, but I'm not pleased with this, but now I don't know where I fit. So our communication and our word, our couples Bible study, all brought us to new levels, right? So first our communication had to change, because we were doing destructive things. When we get mad at each other, we was trying to destroy each other instead of trying to build each other up, right? When we disagree with a situation, we throw away the whole thing. Like it's a thing that we do. Say for instance, we have something that we're pushing towards, either it's financially or whatever the case may be, a goal or something we're pushing towards, and we break away. Our focus isn't that tight, so we'll both decide to just do downtime, which means no matter who's going where, we're not going. No matter who's doing what, we're not doing it. We just gonna be down. Our shutdown time gonna be spent face to face, spending time with each other, reconnecting towards whatever it is, wherever the fall is, wherever the separation is. We're gonna do reconnection time. And so the whole world is like, well, you could do this, you could do that. Yeah, but we're gonna spend time together because we wanted our marriage to work, and it had suffered a whole lot of blows. Our marriage suffered a whole lot of blows. We've been through a whole lot. So in order for it to work, I'm going to recommit to just sitting here. We're going to do our day to day, and then we're going to sit here and we're going to spend time together. We're going to talk about whatever. And he missed a jokey joke. So he got everything's funny. Everything's funny. But we'll sit here and laugh together. And so now we had a whole bunch of medical issues that we had to face. But now that COVID is here, it's no big deal. We used to downtime.
Right.
Yeah, we was down before COVID.
We was down before COVID. So
I was wearing a mask all over the place.
yeah. So it's just a communication. And when you feel yourself separating, it's one thing to have a disagreement. So disagreements, we don't share a brain. So since we don't share a brain, he's liable to agree with something that I don't agree with. And I can choose to debate about it or get over it. Right? It's just determined by how big it is. If it's a big deal, then we got to talk about it. If it's not a big deal, if that's the way you feel about it, amen. But the connection has to be strong. The connection has to be tight. I can't be at a place where I disagree with everything you're saying. Really, you're not for me. Really, and I just let this thing fester, because it can fester into a place that's out of control.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Let's say, for instance, now he's my covering, right?
Mhm.
He's my covering, and God. So when God looks down, God sees him, and then I'm covered under that, right? Like the umbrella, right?
Mhm.
So let's say, for instance, I disagree with something he's doing or saying, right? I don't feel comfortable with it, whatever, you know. So I'm gonna run out alongside him. You know what I mean? So I'd run out of my covering, right? And hoping that, let's say it's feeding the hungry. Okay, let's say I'm making sandwiches and I'm going out feeding the hungry.
Okay.
There's my covering. So everything that I do, he prays over me,
Yeah.
right? He prays over me. He asks God to bless me, right? But he's against this thing. So I'm going against his will, right? I'm making these sandwiches and I'm running out to feed the hungry. I'm going against his will. His will.
Mhm.
Is God going to see that? No. God don't know what's going on because I'm outside.
Wow.
You have went rogue. And
Yeah.
so when you've gone rogue, what are you saying?
Right.
That's like Jesus is our covering. Am I gonna say no, God? I don't want to say in the name of Jesus. I just want to come to you directly, God. Check this out. Me and you got something to talk about.
Not
No,
honoring it. Not
no.
hearing it.
Jesus died so that he could be my covering. Well, this man married me so that he could be my covering. So all my mistakes, all my misunderstandings, everything is still up under him. So before I start running around,
Yeah.
right? Like, you ever see somebody with a puppy and the puppy just keep running around their feet and the person trying to walk, here I am running around and he's trying to walk and I'm running around. Before we get to that place, we shut it down.
Yeah.
Look, we need to do downtime because it's getting out of hand. And regardless to whoever calls it downtime, we're agreeing to the downtime. Regardless of how you feel about it, the downtime is our marriage is this important. So now you stop all that other nonsense and go sit back down.
And and don't forget about your you dating, you pretty much dating still.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, Daryl, because that was a question. That was a question to me about being married and still dating. And in my book, I talk about continuing to date even when
Still dating.
you're married, like, because you're still learning each other. You still should want to keep, growing and going, and all of that comes with dating, still pursuing the more.
Yeah, if you can't go out, at least go hang out for an hour together. If you got children, just go hang out together for an hour. The kids go to sleep, just talk, hang out. If you got time and you got somebody to babysit, just go, take on a date.
Yeah.
Go spend some time, like at least once or twice a month. Even more if you can.
Right. I like that you said you guys have the downtime. No matter what comes, no matter what goes, of course we have friends that's like, y'all, come on, let's just, right? But what you've done, and everybody have to make this thing personal, right? Because that may work for Angel and Daryl, but it may not work for someone else. But what it's saying is you create something that works for your union and not necessarily pull on what other people are doing and what works for them. The goal in that is to see that it can work, right? When you do the work. So your work is looking a little different than my work. And so that's what has gotten you all to 31 years. Being able to sit down, create and design a plan that works for the Browns and not for the Johnsons and not for, the Dinkers or the Smiths. You did something that worked for you, which gives other people that's viewing your marriage encouragement, right? Because we may think this is just not going to work. It cannot work. But then you look at a couple that's been together for 31 years and you hear them speak the way that you're speaking and you begin to question, for married people, you begin to question, okay, what we're going through or what we went through or what we're going to go through, can it really, are we taking it are we taking it too far? Are we not addressing it properly? Like, what do we need to do for us? You said we look at social media and we assume that, all that's glittering is gold. But in the background, the work that's being done in the background is what we don't see. So I love the fact that you talked about what you do to reconnect, right? And that you take the time to just sit down, whatever amount of time that may be. You take the time to sit down face to face, have those conversations. I could imagine that some of those conversations aren't always, good stuff. It's things you have to expose about yourself and the other person in order for it to be fixed or addressed.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, so a lot of times one or the other might be feeling neglected or feeling, like I said, it doesn't have to be money. It could be anything, right? And if that person, so the devil is very real. And if the devil is trying to attack your marriage, right? And you sit down and you both decide to sit down and work on it, he can't get a foot in edgewise. But if he's trying to attack your marriage and you going on, but pushing down the things that you don't like and just, the things that you resent or whatever the case may be, those things are allowed to be planted. Those things are allowed to grow, and they grow between you. If you don't take some time for just the two of you, a substantial amount of time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that we don't stop doing what we have to do. We do what we have to do, and then we don't do anything else.
Yeah.
But just me and you.
Absolutely. You mentioned planting things. I just want to share with the viewers, and you can add to this as well, how important it is to know what seeds that need to be planted into your marriage. Many times, you may be in a space or a place in your marriage where things have begun to grow as a result of seeds that were planted in you as a child. Not necessarily what was planted in you as, adults in this marriage, but just as a child. And many times the plants, the leaves and all that begin to get exposed. And when you recognize that, you should want to do that pause, that sit down, and let's go ahead and dig this thing up. Let's get rid of those roots that are that's not doing our marriage any justice. Figure out what seeds, what plants need to be planted, and then go ahead and do that so we can see the benefits of what it is that we've done, what we need, what we've planted.
What the devil does is meets you where you were. So have you ever heard like minds? So let's say something that I had a problem with in the past, and a seed like that begins to grow. Well, that seed bothers him, but it doesn't bother me. I'm accustomed to it. And you know what? It's like we feel with our sins. I feel like I can control it. Somebody who, whatever sin you commit, there's zillions of them. Whatever sin you commit, you feel like you are in control of it. You feel like you have it, and I release it when I want to, and I rein it in. I'm in control. But no, what it does is it grows. It overgrows you. It overtakes you. Yeah. But you were never the one that opposed it. You were like, oh, it's all right. I'm good with it because it's been with you forever. But if he's uncomfortable with it, then it's downtime. Then we work on it. He should be able to communicate to me in a place where, listen, do you think that's good? You say you're comfortable with it, you're accustomed to it, but as a married individual in this relationship, these three chords, you think that's good? And that has to be a real conversation.
Right.
It has to really be addressed. So anyway.
And you gotta remember that you can't read, your spouse, your significant other, you can't read their mind. You might want something, and you want her or him, whoever, to want. You think they can read your mind and think what you want. They know, but they don't know. You have to talk to them, tell them. Right. You have to let them know what you want. If they don't respond, okay, cool. Let them know again. Let them know that you're serious about it. So let them know.
There was a game that we played at the church a long time ago where it was just like Family Feud. The women stayed in one room and the men went into another room. And we asked these questions off of this list. And we put the answers on the board. And so one of the questions had to do with, is this how you imagine marriage to be? What do you think, looking at your marriage and what you imagined at 15, 16, 14, 12, that your marriage would be? Listen, the spectrum was so wide. The spectrum was so wide where people who loved each other, I mean, some were newlyweds, some were old heads, but all loved each other. When the women, we were saying things like, because what we've been watching Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie and all these different things on TV. We wanted our marriage to be like that, right? But
Yeah.
our marriage was taking work, and our marriage was dealing with issues and situations, and not always peaches and cream, and not always like Leave It to Beaver, where everybody sits down at the table with their pearls on.
Social media.
Yeah, not the stuff that we see on social media.
Yeah.
And so the women were like, "Is this it, really?" And the men, look, they wasn't thinking the way we were thinking. They were like, "I work real hard to take care of you, to pay these bills, to do this and do that. Why aren't you happy?"
Right.
And we're like, it's not that we're not happy.
Yeah.
Our happiness came from within, but we are assuming that, this fairy tale, we got God, we got you. What isn't clicking? And then, who told you that? Who told you that's what marriage was going to be? This Leave It to Beaver, Warren Cleaver.
Babe, a lot of people don't know who that is.
I've heard of Leave It to Beaver. I know who Leave It to Beaver is.
I'm going way back. But yeah, so it's good to discuss and communicate. What did you expect out of a marriage? What do you want out of a marriage? Because she might want to cook dinners every day, and he come home and they eat and sit around the table with the children and just have lovely talk. And he's like, yeah, when I come home, I just want an hour of quiet, absolutely nothing but quiet. Because out there in that world, he's fighting. He's fighting every day. I mean, from the drive to work to the whistle blows and he gets off work, he's fighting. Some men have two jobs.
Yeah.
And so, are you unhappy because he doesn't want to walk in the door and sit down at the table and eat? Are you unhappy because of that? Can you give him
10 minutes of peace?
10 minutes or an hour? Can you give him that? Can you not?
Let's unpack that just a little bit before I ask you the main question. Let's unpack. We're talking about the lack of, so to speak, communication, or there may be communication. So you may have a couple, you may have a wife or a husband who is saying just what you said, but I do this and I do that. I pay the bills. I, take the trash out. I get your car washed, fixed, all those things. And the other spouse is saying, but what I'm asking you for is, and then they say what that thing is. So if the other person isn't, if the other spouse isn't lining up to that, or they're not hearing you properly, or they're still doing those things that, and it's not a problem that you love me the way you love me, you do my gas, the car, and all that. But what I'm telling you will make a difference in what I'm feeling or what I want or what I think is this. If that spouse is not doing that, how do you address it?
Well, what you should probably do is just tell them, I'm gonna try to work on doing that for you. I'm gonna see if that can happen. I'm gonna try my best to make it happen, so you make it happen so you'll be happy. I mean, if it's physical or financial, we're gonna see if it can happen. We're gonna work it out.
And I would say that the fact that someone is willing, so if you run up against, no, I'm not doing that, that's over with, that's dead, forget it, then there would be a problem. Yeah. But if you're willing, right, and with God, we always got to go back to God. Yeah. With God, I will approach him, and I'll also pray.
Mhm.
right? So I pray first because I could be raw. My approach could be rough. My approach, without being curtailed and tailored to deal with my marriage, could be aggressive,
Mhm.
and no one wants to be addressed that way,
Right.
right? So I need to pray first that God guide me in this thing, and then let Him help me to approach Daryl, right?
Mhm.
And then whatever it is, the fact that He's willing to work on it.
Right.
First of all, you got to know. He's got to first know.
Yeah.
I
Communication.
I just feel like we've been together forever, and he loves to watch basketball, and I'm not offended by it. I mean, I know basketball. We could talk about it all the time. I
Right.
don't always want to watch basketball.
Right.
So, do I want to stop him from watching basketball? No. I just want you to understand that I don't always want to watch it.
Right.
And you know what? I'll sometimes even take him to the game to
Right.
see his Clippers.
I don't like the way she said that.
Right.
Even
She
if
said that
even
hard. Yeah, she leaned
Yeah.
in there on it.
even if they don't have a habit of winning, we still go to the game because I love him, and that, you know what,
Right.
this is important to you, then it's important to me.
Exactly.
And that's good. What's important to you is important to me.
Then it's important to me. But
Yeah.
he got to approach me, or I got to approach him. Else I'd never know.
Absolutely. That's where effective communication comes in. That's where being able to talk to and not at a person. Because when you're speaking at your spouse, they are not listening to fix or to really hear your heart. They're listening so that they can fire back, so they could defend themselves, so they can say, nope, that's not it, right? So our
Listen,
heart posture has to be in the right place when we are going to address something. And if you know the person that you're with, you know your spouse, 9 times out of 10, you kind of know how he or she is going to receive it, right? So that's another reason why it's so important to go to God first, and don't leave God. Take him with you. Invite the Holy Spirit with you when you have the conversation, because your delivery is going to have to be in such a way that it's received.
some of us can be verbal assassins in the 6th grade.
Ooh, verbal assassins.
If you a verbal assassin in the 6th grade, by the time you are married, anytime you are disappointed or it's not going your way, you can verbally destroy someone.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now, I'm inside the castle. Now somebody outside the castle, they could take a stab at 50% of the time they'll be right, 50% of the time they'll be wrong. But I'm inside the castle. I know everything.
Yeah.
So if I decided to assassinate him, I could just completely behead him. Is that
Mm,
what you want? Is
mm.
that what you want? I mean, yeah, you got the power, but are you using your power to good? Because at
Right.
the end of the day, it's still my husband. It's still my husband. I still love him.
Absolutely.
So do I want to verbally destroy him about the Clippers and then expect him to be all right? Come on, let's go see your Clippers. They
Right.
all right.
Let's just
Let's go.
go.
Let's go.
So the question of the night: what is marriage really? When we talk about marriage, when we see a married couple, if I see a married couple in God, what should I see without them saying it?
Communication. Communication. Sex. Finances. You got to get together with the finances, and it's pretty much most of them three.
Yeah, I would say a relationship. So, okay. Sex in the word is a relationship with God and your spouse.
Yes.
It's an agreement, right? It's like having a contract. At the end of the day, so anybody who works for a union company, at the end of the day, we got a whole set of rules here that we can go by, right? Processes and procedures, right? That
Mm-hmm.
we go by for every situation. It's
Yep.
nothing new under the sun. It's that relationship wrapped up, right? The Bible says three cords round together. That's what marriage is. So when you see marriage in the word, when you see it, you see me or the wife or the one spouse respectful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not I, you see he has a vision. I submit to his vision.
Mm-hmm.
I have an understanding of what the vision is. He
Yeah.
has goals for this family. I agree to those goals for this family. So when you see it, you see us moving in agreement.
Yeah.
When you see us, you see him respecting me. Whether I'm there or not, he's not in the group talking about my wife this and my wife that. She gets on my nerves. She always wants. It's not like that.
Yeah.
If he's in a group of men and they're all commiserating about their wife, putting their wife down, he's going to bring up good points. He's going to say, but yeah, man, but she vowed to spend the rest of her life with you.
Yeah.
She still did that. Now, outside of the word,
Mm-hmm.
there is still marriage outside of the word.
Yeah.
And it still looks like a partnership as well. However, there is nothing binding them. Outside of the word, marriage looks like options.
Ooh.
Outside of the word, marriage looks like options. Uh, you know what? I don't like the way this is going. I don't like,
Yes.
this whole thing is not how I imagined it to be, right? Say, for instance, like I was saying earlier today, a single woman raised her son, and now he's with a wife, and he expects to see her doing all the things that his mother was doing, and she's not. She's lazy. But your mother had to do it all. She didn't have any help. Well, no, you're lazy. You know what? You're not what I bargained for.
Mm.
Right? Now
Mm-hmm.
I have an option because there's nothing holding me.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing making me say, look deeper, dig deeper. There's no God saying, no,
This is what I called you to do.
this is my gift to you. I am his gift,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? This is my gift to you. Before you throw it away, pay attention. Before you throw it away, understand that I take this as a direct insult
That's in the word.
in the word.
Yeah.
Understand that I take this as a direct insult. Well, when you're outside of the word, there is no binding. There is no one who takes it as a direct insult. You know what? I embarrass you. I say too much. I do too much. I'm a problem.
That's good.
Option
That's
is,
good.
well, I just don't want to be married anymore. Well, you do whatever you want to do, but be whoever you want to be. I don't want to be married anymore.
Right. So listen, Angel, because I want to be very clear with the viewers, the people that are going to come back and watch this. We're talking about marriage. We're not talking about marriage and dating. We're talking about
Mm-mm.
just strictly marriage. Marriage
Mhm.
in the word and marriage
Mhm.
outside of the word.
Mhm.
Question for you, because this has been asked for a few years now. It's been a topic of discussion. Are all marriages ordained by God?
No. What makes a marriage? No. The answer is no. Now, let's go into it. What ordains a marriage by God? If I go and pick somebody out and drag him down the aisle and throw him up to God and say, God bless this. So so let's look at it. Let's look at it today. Let's look at it right now. Let's look at it, Tam. Tam, you tell your daughter this is what you're supposed to be doing today, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she comes home with a puppy, raggedy, toe up puppy, and she says, I want you to bless this puppy. I want us to keep this puppy. What? No, no, no. That doesn't have anything to do with what I told you to do.
Listen,
That
disobedience.
doesn't have anything to do with what I asked you to obey me.
Yeah.
I got you. Can you trust me?
Yeah.
We like to trust him with what we can see.
Come on.
So yeah, I trust you. Bless me like you bless Mia. Bless me like that. God said, no, no, no. You come over here. No, bless me like you bless Linda. God
Mm-hmm.
said, no. Your walk is different.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get someone else's blessing.
Yeah.
And the way that you go is by communicating with me. So the marriages that are ordained, to answer your question, are the marriages where you ask God to bring me my spouse. And you stayed where? In the word. And you waited. And when you wait, you're not waiting like this.
Right.
You waiting like a waiter. You are serving God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like a waiter or a waitress, you are serving God until God brings them. Now, if you are already in the marriage and you come to God, then you allow God to do what he's going to do. And you trust him. So that means that marriage might be dissolved. And you trust him. That
Yeah.
means that marriage might be moved to another level.
Yeah.
And you trust him. Listen, when you look at things growing,
Yeah.
it can be good. It can't feel good. When you watch a leaf, I have a tree that I've been nursing and nursing. It's a fiddle leaf fig. These new leaves come out. They come out, and when they come out, they're all rolled up, and then slowly they unroll. But for it to have pushed out of that bark was some work.
Yeah.
And so as it's becoming who it's supposed to be, it's hurtful.
Right.
It's tiring.
Right.
And we as humans, we like to just stay in what we like, stay in what we know. We want to come and get God, but we want to drag hell with us.
Mm.
We want it both. Look, I like this stuff right here. So I'm gonna keep all this stuff in this basket, and then I'm gonna serve you. And God say, well, hold on a minute. Yeah, I'm gonna serve you. I'm gonna get one of these husbands out the church though. But I'm gonna serve you, God. You gonna what? We don't want to trust him with what we don't understand.
Right.
So we don't want to give him the room to move in our lives. And so we keep doing the same thing over and over, learning the same lesson over and over.
Mm-hmm.
All marriages are not ordained. The ones that are ordained are the ones he puts together. Then he blesses them. And they're not all walking on water and peaches and cream.
No, it's not. No.
Right. Right.
Regardless to what it looks like on the outside.
What you said, Daryl?
It's gonna be some struggles. I mean, you always gonna have some struggles. Don't think it's just gonna be fly.
Right.
You know, it's gonna be some struggles, but you just gotta fight through it. You married her, she married you, so y'all together. Y'all committed to each other.
Right. Right.
So we say through sickness and health, we say through richer and poor, we
Mm-hmm.
say for better or for worse,
Mm-hmm.
but without, and that's in God.
Yeah. And that's
That's
in God.
that's in God.
Mm-hmm.
But we ain't gonna trust him for too much more. We start saying stuff like, God, I'm tired. No, come
Yeah.
on, trust me. Walk with me all the way through this. But I'm tired, God. You don't know. I'm a good woman.
Tuh.
I'm good.
Yeah.
It's all right.
And it's during those tough times, those times where we are challenged, and when you're challenged in the marriage, it's those times where you get to show the people who Christ is, who God is, how he designed marriage. What's the original design for marriage? It never is supposed to be to make you comfortable. Marriage is not to make us comfortable, right? But it's showing who God is, the way we love, the way we commit, the way that we understand, the long suffering, the communication, our kindness, our patience, all of that. We should see that in a married couple that's in God, and see God, right? The way you parent, we should see God. The way you're being a wife, the way you speak to your husband, about your husband, lift your husband up. We should see God.
Okay.
Big difference, big difference. This is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with washing his feet.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with giving him his roses. There's nothing wrong with telling him he is the king and this is going to be, your position,
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to be work. And every once in a while, both sides, both employ. So we have Employee Appreciation Day all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But we gonna put in this work and just keep on dragging along. We're not gonna stop and say, you know what? I love you and you doing this.
Yeah.
And I know I keep falling down, and I know sometimes I'm weighing you down. And I'll just ask you to forgive me, and we're gonna keep moving.
Keep moving.
And vice versa. But when we go through, some church folks, they don't want to show. They want you to think it's all peaches and creams. Oh, we just come to church with a smile on. That's fine. You can come to church with a smile on. But don't put up a facade and have people thinking that is absolutely no way that we have disagreements, because then they won't know how to deal with disagreements.
Absolutely.
They won't know how to. I have friends who never seen their parents argue,
Yeah.
who never seen their parents upset. And then at the end of the day, I don't know why my mom doesn't love my dad, or I don't know why, honey.
Yeah.
Look,
Right.
this thing is designed for a man and woman to go through, but it was not designed to be easy.
Yeah.
It was not designed to be uh, a walk in the park. And that's even with God. This is hard, even with God. Searching for happiness is hard, because you got to know.
Yeah.
But what makes you happy?
Yeah.
Yeah. People don't know. Yeah.
What makes you happy on Thursday?
Yeah.
This is your list. What makes you happy 6 weeks from now on Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me to see your don't ask me to see your list again. Oh, let me see that list I gave you last. No. I'm
You
asking
have to
you.
know.
If you're changing on a regular basis, then what do you want him to do?
Right.
Wake up in the morning and ask you what 6 things you want today, babe? That's not the way it works.
Right.
So,
That's
so
good.
that marriage looks like ups and downs, happiness, a relationship with God, marriage outside of the word, a partnership with options.
I truly love that. I'm writing
Options.
that down because I'm gonna quote you. I love it. But here's the thing. That's why I know that this platform and in any other platform that does this, it's so vital. It's so important to the kingdom of God as we try to share and show and teach the true design of marriage, why God even created marriage, why he thought that Adam needed Eve, and many times, and this is a whole, I ain't even gonna go
Yeah,
into that
that's a
because
whole lot. That's a
yeah,
whole lot.
yeah,
It's a
I'm
whole
like,
lot.
that gets real deep, and yeah, that's something else. But it's so important that we understand the true definition and design, what should be expected, because the world and people just have given us a false expectation or a false definition of what marriage is, what it's supposed to look like, what it's supposed to feel like, right? And how easy it should be, because of what we've seen, because we see people moving and operating. And listen at this, and I don't want to get so deep, but the enemy, that Satan, he bless people too. He know what we like. He know what it's supposed to look like. So he will send you something that have the appearance of, right? But it's not really. And so we sometimes buy into that thing. Even believers, we buy into the look. We buy into the feeling. We buy into what I want versus what do I need. We forget to ask God, what do I need? I might need a man that doesn't do whatever that thing is. I might need that, which is going to help me develop into the person that he is designing, he's made me to be, right? I may need that in my life for a minute. But if we aren't going to God and asking him beforehand, we are going to either throw in the towel, we're going to do it wrong, we're going to make bad turns, and all those things are going to happen. But when you are in God, when you are being intentional and doing it on purpose, my God, there is something different that comes from that. And so that's why I wanted you and Daryl and you, Angel, to come on here and just, have regular dialogue. This is just a regular conversation, but to let the people know that there's definitely a difference between a God marriage, a marriage in God or in the word, and a marriage in the world. So if you could leave the viewers with something, and Angel, you look like you about to jump out your
Yeah,
seat.
I was gonna say something because you pulled me in. You pulled me in when you said that woman was put here and man was here. Listen, the woman we have certain gifts. We have spiritual gifts. We have understanding. As long as we keep praying and stay in our position, they work. But spiritually, this union can be under attack if I'm off running around him in circles and not spiritually clicking in, linking in, doing my job spiritually. I'm the lookout.
Yes, you are.
He's the muscle, but I'm the lookout. So if I bite the fruit, I have been distracted. And if I've been distracted, what happens to the entire kingdom?
Crumbles.
Okay. So when you said that you didn't want to go too deep, I don't want to go too deep either. But Adam, what he looked at Adam, he said it's not good that he be here alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you read your word, you know it was a whole lot of things going on outside of that garden.
Yes.
And apparently the serpent made it to the inside. So spiritually, there had to be a position. There had to be somebody to play that position. You can't just have a quarterback. You got to have somebody to play a position that's going to be able to help you fight. And if it was a physical fight, a lion or a tiger or a bear would have done. It wasn't a physical fight.
Right.
It was a spiritual fight.
Yeah.
So the out of was necessary.
Yeah.
So for something to come out of him, bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh, right? Hoping that we would have something in common, that we'd be fighting for the same thing. But now I done took away the whole, that's it.
No, because now you don't pull me in. Because listen, you talked about the serpent got in, right?
Yeah.
We have to understand that when we are not being vigilant about what we're supposed to be doing, the serpent would get in, the enemy would get in and entice us and make things look a certain way and tell us you can do that. It's you do no, go ahead. You good. You know, the only reason they don't want you to do that is because they hating on your marriage. They hating on you. They don't want you to, fast, or they don't want you to do this or not go to these places anymore because they're jealous of you. That's a trick of the enemy. The serpent got in and told Eve what he told her, and she, ate fruit, and then she went to her. It happens the same way today, but we use words like haters. We use words like I'm a boss chick. We use words like I'm independent, INDD. We use all those things. She got her own car, her own. Okay, that's fine and dandy. But that is the trick of the enemy because we were never designed to be that way. That's not what God created or designed us to be.
But we let the world entice us. We'll let the world entice us the same way we let the serpent entice us. We'll let the world entice us with sweet things and tickling our ear and telling us, you know what? He doesn't even, it happened to Moses. Well, why are we listening to Moses? Don't we hear from God too?
Yeah.
God had to come down and put things back in order. And we get upset when we say, when someone says that God wants everything decent and in order, we get upset like who determined the order? Yeah. Man didn't determine the order. And if you step outside of the order, God will come and let you know that, this is not it. This is not that. Yeah. Get back in position. Play your part. Well, he's not. A lot of times we're like, I'm gonna do this, and he not serving God. He don't want to do this. He doesn't want to do that. No. Get somewhere and sit down, and you wait. But we don't. But we don't pay attention to the Bible. We only read the parts that are important to us. Yeah. Do you know that there's a wife in the Bible that her husband told her to lie? A lie is a sin. Yes. And her husband told her to lie,
and she did it.
And she did it. And do you know that God fixed that thing?
Yes, he did.
But Angel would be like, no, wait a minute. You want me to lie? You don't trust God? What kind of God you serve? So we all the way out to why don't you curse your God and die now? Right?
Yeah.
Instead of playing in my position. Amen. This is what you want me to do. This is what I'm doing. Amen.
Right. Because you're being obedient to who you committed to, which is God.
That's right.
You're not committed. You're not being obedient to the man. You're being obedient to what God told you to do as a wife. and God bless you in that. And I know sometimes say, well, so I'm supposed to just, and I
Yes.
know you're
Yes.
supposed to do what God told you to do.
That's right. You submit to that man as you would submit to God. And
Yeah.
then you let God, if God is able to tear the cloth from the top, he could fix this.
It's
Don't don't
nothing.
don't get yourself in a tizzy. I know you think your position is important, and it
Right.
is,
It
but it ain't
is.
that important. God got you.
Right.
God got it. Just stay in your position. Submit yourself and submit that tongue, and everything gonna be all right.
That's a good transition to that is for the women. Submit yourself and submit that tongue. Daryl, is there something you would say to the men as husbands?
Yeah, well, I know when she praying because all of a sudden I start doing stuff and I'm like, why? What is going on? And I'm like, I go to her and I'm like, wait a minute, I wasn't expecting to do this. Why am I doing this? Did you pray on something? And she just stand over there like, no. But I know I know that look. I know that look. When she give me that look, I'm like, yeah, you've been praying. Because I end up doing stuff that I wasn't even thinking about.
Yeah.
So, just tell the man they gotta listen to. Listen to God. God is talking to you too. Not just them. They talking to you. So just listen. I mean, if you can't hear, just stop, meditate, and listen. You're gonna hear. So you're gonna hear somebody talking to you, and that's God.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
he will let you know. And just like I said, God be telling me to do stuff. She'll come to me and she'll be like, "Have you been praying to God? Because I'm doing this and I wasn't expecting to do that." So I'm like, "No, that wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about." But she know.
Yeah.
It's something I wanted done. I go to God and He'll take care of it. So yeah,
That's
just
good.
pray on it. Pray on it.
That's a connect.
Pray on it.
That's a connect not only with your wife, but that's a connect with God.
Yeah.
That shows your relationship
Yeah.
that you have with God, and that He is honoring the relationship. He's honoring your desires, and because He told us that He would, but we have to be obedient to Him. And so
Yeah.
when you have God, so here's the thing for I would say to the men and to the women. If this is the person that God told you is your husband or your wife, He's going to speak to them. He's already anointed them with the oil that you need for your spouse, right? So, hey, God, this is the man you gave me, and go ahead and let him know. This is what I'm asking for. This is what I need. This is, what I'm desiring. And if you don't need that, he'll let you know that too. That's not for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And what we do is we want to pick them. And let me show you what's so dangerous about you picking them. When God picks them, He picks them for you. God knows more about you than you know about you.
Listen.
For instance, God knew where I would be in 31 years, right? God
Yeah.
knew on day one where I would be in 31 years. This did not come as a surprise to Him. He was not confused or concerned about this choice. God knew who I was and where I was going to be, and He knew who to have with me.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a whole lot of other things that happened in my life. But God said, no, that's not it. Because I'm going to develop, I'm going to grow, I am going to evolve, or what the kids say now, level up. If I'm going to level up, God had to put
Yeah.
somebody with me that is responsible to level up as well. And when his level up happens, he's not offended by my level up.
Yeah.
I remember going around to all the other ministers and going, when God called you to preach, did He call your wife first or you first? Because I was wondering, is God gonna call him too, or just me, or is this fair? This ain't right.
Right.
And God is like, no, you where you need to be.
In
You know,
your lane.
God was like, no, God called me first. So I was like, now I'm looking for things that happen for me that happen for other people. God is like, no, your instance, your situation, it's all about you. You're not gonna find nobody else here that this has happened to, and you're all right with it.
Yeah.
Right? But I He knew who I was going to be. He knew who Daryl was going to be, and he put us in a position where we would be good together.
Yeah. For
But
the
if I would have did the picking, there ain't no telling what kind of mess I would have put together. Because the things I was looking for was altogether different.
right.
I
Right.
was looking for things that were superficial,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, God is like, right now you are superficial, but there's going to come a time when you're going to be over here,
Yeah.
and superficial won't serve a purpose.
That's good. That's real good. That's real good. So man, this has been good. I appreciate you again. Like I said at the beginning, I appreciate you coming on and giving me a little bit of your time today, this evening, and giving the viewers, the guests, your time and sharing, some things that you've encountered in 31 years, over 31 years, and what it's supposed to look like and what it shouldn't look like. I hope that somebody's marriage will be changed as a result of something that was said tonight. I hope some mindsets have been shifted. I hope somebody press pause for a minute and give that thing some thought again before you make the wrong decision. Let's try and make righteous decisions by going to God first and asking Him to lead and guide us, to give us the proper words to say as we go into whatever the conversation may be with our spouse, with your spouse. But I say to Angel and Daryl, thank you so much. May God continue to bless you, and that you see another 31 years in this marriage of yours. And just know that I love you. I love you for always being there. I just love you for who you are.
We love you too, Tam, and thank you for having us. I certainly hope that we were able to say something and help someone understand something. It's really important at this time in our lives, all of our lives, that we just get it together, that we line up and be whoever God called us to be.
Yeah.
And so I hope somebody's willing to not just be entertained, but pull themselves together.
Very good.
Amen.
Amen. And let the church say amen. So thank you guys. Thank you, viewers, for coming on. I appreciate it. Make sure you like and that you share this video as well. And I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Oh, in 2 weeks, this is so dope because I feel like it is a great attachment, a great segue to the next show, which will be another couple coming on talking about change or die. So if you don't change how you are living your marriage, if you're not living your marriage in God, then it will definitely die. So that's where we're coming in a couple of weeks, and I think it's going to be a great segue from here to there. Thank you guys again, and I will talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.